Shooters and reloaders out there, and Three Circles passengers and members, it's Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the Hot Lead Zone Express. On a real nice spring day, we're gonna go ahead and do a video today about, well, what can you do with the high prices and inflation and all of that kind of thing going on when it comes to giving some nice gifts of appreciation to our shooting friends, our reloading friends out there. So many of the new shooters out there today don't know what it was like. Before, we used to go ahead and buy a brick of 22 long rifle for like $9.99. And it was common to go to a birthday party or for Christmas stocking stuffers to give a brick of 22 long rifle ammo for a stocking stuffer. And then there were times that, well, you knew that a friend of yours liked to go deer hunting, and you know he's got a 30-06 rifle, so you go ahead and buy a box of 30-06 ammo for him to go hunting with, say 180 grains if he's going after elk, 150 grain loads for deer or hogs, and you spend like $12 for a box of 30-06 ammo and give it to him for a gift. And it was easy. You go to any sporting goods store for 22 long rifle, any store for 30-06 or 308, or any caliber like that. It was like every store. Well, now we have shortages and we have high prices. And we're not going to be giving a brick of 22 long rifle or even a box of 45 Colt ammo to anybody anytime soon. So what are you going to do when it comes to giving gifts for shooting friends or reloading friends? A lot of us have some scrap hardwood in the garage. In fact, it's quite common to find scrap hardwood. And you can even get it on Craigslist. People are trying to get rid of hardwood that's in their garage. You can go ahead and pick it up off the curb site. Hardwood. So here's what you can do with hardwood to make a gift for someone. This is my latest creation. What it is a shotgun rest. Not for shooting the shotgun, but for things like cleaning the shotgun, working on the shotgun. So suppose you're working on this shotgun, installing these removable sights. You need to have some kind of rest to put the shotgun in. And you might say, well, look at this. You've got some play in this rest, right? Well, that can be easily solved by jamming a rag in here. And if you need a little more, just jam it in there, and you've got a more firm situation to do your work putting the sights on. And if you're cleaning the shotgun, then this end could be off the end of the table, so that's how you break it open and still be able to clean using this rest. So look at this. Scrap white oak, and you use your jigsaw to make the cuts. The way I really like my jigsaw, because you gotta have a hand here holding it and the second hand's here. Your hands are pretty far from that blade, and the blade just reciprocates up and down. No big spinning saw blade, and this is a joy to use. Good control, and I think it's a lot safer to use. And the cuts this thing will make is amazing. You use a saw blade that's a little bit on the finer side, and use a jig. Then you go ahead and clamp everything down, and with the jig you just make a nice straight cut. And then you can make decorative cuts as you need with the jigsaw. Then I use my rotary tool, my all-trade rotary tool, to kind of smooth everything up. And then the sander takes care of everything else. If you use a table saw or a circular saw, then you gotta be careful, because those things can be dangerous. Gotta know what you're doing. Take it easy, take it slow. Always think about what you're doing before you do it, and safety is the first concern when you're using saws. And then you use your real nice sander to create a finish where you can't tell the end grain feel from the side grain because you sanded it so well. And then not only that, you can use your sander to create a little bevel here on all these surfaces, make a nice bevel to break up the sharp corners without the need of a router. The sanders are very important to get the job done, and this happens to be a tack life that I bought from Amazon. It's corded, but that's not a problem. It's a corded sander and it only costs like $30, like $29.95. Amazing price. But for that, you got variable speed, you got orbital motion is really good. Takes a 5-inch disc, and the loops hold it on there. Has dust control. Do it outdoors anyway with a mask, but this thing, I ran it for an hour straight, and the thing just keeps going. So I've used this for all the wood projects that we're talking about, and it's just very impressive piece of gear for $29.95. You don't have to buy the real expensive ones to get a good orbital random sander. And by the way, when it comes to discs, these are just a cheapy disc from Amazon, but they're good. One disc that's a medium grit did the whole job, because as you go ahead and use this, it gets a little finer. So what happens is, after you run the medium disc on there, on all this surface, by the time you get done with that, it's become a fine disc, so you just keep going with it. And it'll get the fine job done to the point where even the end grain here feels absolutely smooth compared to the side grain. The same thing, the same feel. You close your eyes, you can't tell. So these cheapy discs are great. Notice you don't throw the disc away until the thing starts to, the bare paper starts to show through around here. It's still good. Then simple stain, and I'm using the oak stain. And if you want to go ahead and use polyurethane over this, whether it's flat or semi-gloss or gloss polyurethane, your choice. I would recommend doing all the finishing first before assembling. And when you assemble it, all it takes is to do a countersink bore hole for the screw that you're going to use, and then make this middle one a little asymmetrical so you know which way the thing screws together. Then I'm going to go ahead and put rubber feet on this. Then of course a nice touch is to get some peel and stick felt from Michaels and just cut off a strip and just stick it on for a very nice professional look. And this protects your shotgun barrel very nicely, of course. Now for those reloading friends out there that we might have, these die rack holders are really handy. And they're a lot nicer than having some of those metal ones that are made for mounting on the presses and this kind of thing. So this would go right next to your press. And it can be simple, it can be short, it can be long or shorter. And again, there are the nice feet on the bottom. Simple to make, just use the Forstner bit in your drill press and make the drill holes. 7/8 is perfect for all of these reloading dies that we have, as you see. And you can make them more complicated. You can make them to have 2 stacks of holes or 2 rows of holes. All a question of what you have on hand in terms of hardwood. This is just molding. Hardwood molding, that's again oak. So here's one that's a little taller, and it has holes drilled into. Well, sorry about that, my camera ran out of ammo. I had to reload the camera with ammo. Anyway, so yeah, you can drill these holes to fit shell holders underneath, and the holes are drilled all the way through, so if you got any junk on the shell holder, it can fall through and not get caught in the hole. And then, if you like, you can make these smaller holes for those who like to use the lead dippers. And then you could have any number of dippers in there for the various calibers you're loading. So these are really handy. And again, scrap hardwood. It costs, say, at most $2 or $3 to make this, because that's the feet on the bottom. If you leave the feet off and just put some sticky felt underneath, it's even cheaper. But a nice gift for a reloading friend. Now, of course, reloading trays. I got this idea from Nick Ross, who used a very thin veneer for the bottom and then had some nice kind of hardwood that he used for the top. Well, I didn't have that thin veneer because you got to go out and buy that. And that thin veneer is actually pretty expensive. So I just used regular 2x12s or 2x8s or 2x6s. And I went ahead and used that for a base, makes a more robust base. And then use some nice hardwood for the top part. It's got to be thick enough to hold your shell, and then drill your holes. This happens to be for 12 gauge. And then after you're done, you go ahead and finish that with urethane, as you see. And you can make a big tray or a small tray. So here's an example of a smaller volume tray. And again, the nicely finished urethane, so that you don't get any chance of getting any damage or chemicals or this kind of thing when you bump the shell rims against this. And if you're doing big bore pistol or rifle, then you got a nice tray like this, using thinner wood here, planking or shelving material, and that good polyurethane. And if someone wants to do a smaller caliber, and these don't take that long to make, you just simply drill the holes. You learn how to use a fence on your drill press, and you spray the polyurethane on there and just let it sit in the sun to dry. So you don't really take a lot of time doing that part of it. But these can make some very nice and useful and actually desirable. Because sure, we can use plastic trays for this kind of thing, but it sure is nice to use something like this. Plus we can make 55 capacity or 60 capacity holes or 75 capacity. So you don't get that kind of capacity, high capacity trays, when you buy the plastic ones. So anyway, these are all good gift tips. You know, with good planning and going ahead and designing all this stuff on your computer and getting it all worked out, you could do all your sawing if you're doing a table saw or a circular saw. Do all your sawing in one step, so you don't saw and do one project and then saw and do a second project and set things up all over again and get a lot of wasted motion. Just do all your sawing at once, and your jigsawing, do all that at once, and make even a better use of your time. Well, I must admit that I'm still a rank amateur when it comes to woodworking, but when you do these projects, you start getting better at doing them. Why not? If I can do these things, anybody can, and if you have a desire to do this, I encourage you to give it a try. Just make sure you stay safe. Watch out for that table saw. The jigsaw is a lot safer. Anyway, take care. And all of you out there, good woodworking to you if you're going to do this. Bye for now.